Welcome back. We've all heard how to be an entrepreneur in Hong Kong. There are pitch weekends, incubators, accelerators. But what if your big idea is about appetite, not apps? The city is famous for its diversity of food and restaurants, but until recently hasn't had much support for culinary startups. Being a food entrepreneur can be a choppy ride in Hong Kong. No one knows that better than Laurie Granito, a chef with successful catering businesses, and she admits failed ones under her belt. She felt culinary startups lacked support, and so cooked up an unusual scheme.
Well, Kitchen Sink was really born out of the idea that we wanted to help food entrepreneurs get off the ground. So one of the big problems in Hong Kong is that if you want to start a food business, there are a lot of licensing regulations, and you need to have a licensed food facility, a licensed food factory. And most people can't afford that, because even a small food factory will run you a couple $1 million to get up and get licensed. So the idea was really to take the concept of like tech incubators, but apply it to the food space. And so what we've done is we've allowed people to come in and rent our space by the hour, or by the day, or by the month, so they can test their concepts. They can produce in a licensed kitchen and then sell their products in the markets, so that they have an idea of whether the concept will work.
They already had the production kitchen. She herself started her culinary ideas by accident.
When I came to Hong Kong, I was not in F&B. My husband is a chef. He came out with one of the big hotels. And I really just on a fluke started a catering business. And I did it like many people. I had a job at the same time. And a friend of mine told me, I heard about these two ladies that are doing catering from home. And I thought, I can do that. I got pots, I got pans, I got fire. So I put an ad in the paper and somebody called me, and the rest, it just sort of grew from there. Eventually, I had to leave my job, which we find with a lot of entrepreneurs. They start while they still have a job, and they start doing it on the side to see if it's something that is sustainable and that they can make money at, because obviously you have to sell a lot of cupcakes to pay your rent.
Today the ovens are full of beans rather than baking, as she and husband Patrick prepare ingredients for one of the first culinary concepts which Laurie mentored.
Yeah, he's almost stringing together sentences.
One entrepreneur felt Hong Kong might take to Tex-Mex, but he needed somewhere to see if his gut feeling was right.
I came up with a concept for Little Borough and initially needed a kitchen solution. I'm not a chef, my background's design. So I kind of needed someone to be able to consult with and be able to help create the different menu items that I had thought of. We created a pop-up shop in Causeway Bay to test the market and see if Hong Kong was really ready for this idea. And that lasted for 6 months, and in those 6 months it worked out. People were receptive, and so we decided to open up our second shop, which we're in right now, and then the third. There's always the curiosity here in Hong Kong, but the fact is a lot of people just aren't familiar with the food. So we get questions as simple as, what is a burrito, or what's the difference between a burrito and a taco, or what's sour cream? These are ingredients and recipes and dishes that people just aren't familiar with. So there has been an education process, which we've appreciated, we've embraced.
I asked what difficulties he would have faced without Laurie's incubator program.
How long do we have for this? Because it would have been almost impossible. Besides having Laurie as just a consultant to be able to bounce ideas off of or have questions for, the space itself proves that you don't need to build your own kitchen, in every restaurant. I feel in Hong Kong, my experience has been always just doing things on our own. We have the opportunity to do things on our own, and anybody can kind of open their own business and run with it. So there is a lack of support in food and beverage, but I feel like that's all changing, and especially with places like Kitchen Sink that are creating a little bit of a buzz.
I'm going for that.
From new concept to niche concept, Laurie is talking to baker and entrepreneur Maria, who's trying a new recipe for chocolate fudge cupcakes with a hint of orange.
My company is called The Cake Minstrel. I do gluten-free baked goods that are meant to be treats. I provide for gluten-free and lactose intolerance as well, because I wanted to sell at the Island East markets, and they basically turned to me and said, well, you can be a home baker, but you need to bake from a licensed facility. And at that time, my friend has just introduced me to Laurie, and they had just announced that they were going to do the kitchen incubator, so it was very, very timely. So I got all the requirements done and baked from there while I sold at the Island East. And it's been very lucky that these kitchens have already been set up, so while we test our products, while we get our names known, we don't have to fork out the amount of money to set up our own production kitchens.
Another entrepreneur is seeing if the Hong Kong palate can be pleased by adding a twist to a girly treat that's successful elsewhere. The clue is in the company name, Little Miss Macarons.
The reason I made these macarons is because I had some macarons like 7-8 years ago from one of the really top shops. Every one of them was just sweet. I mean, in Hong Kong, people don't like it. So my macarons, I suppose the difference is I try to adjust the taste to suit Hong Kong people's palate. So it's like, for example, like salted caramel. It's not just about caramel, you know, the richness. You taste the sea salt. Raspberry chocolate, you've got to taste the raspberry. So this is my macarons. This is actually not my full-time job. I'm a financial planner at that time. So this is more my passion that I enjoy doing. At home, you make 20 macarons. But here, you really have to. You can actually make like hundreds at the same time. So you learn a lot. Like pretty much like, how to put it, testing the water, or give you a reality check. Yeah, reality check. So you figure out whether this is going to be your hobby or something you genuinely want to pursue as a career.
The challenge is to differentiate your products. This young company stresses health and the Hong Kong provenance of its products, which are gluten-free muffins, breads and cookies. Baker Ifat and Laurie try some of the cookies Maria made earlier. For Ifat, it's the business guidance, the imparting of market savvy on what products might work in a crowded culinary market that she especially values.
If I was on my own, I probably would have been a little bit up in the clouds, because I do tend to get creative and I do tend to get very excited within my creativity. With Laurie around, she tends to look at the things that I want to do and the things that I want to achieve, and she'll say to me, you know, this is where you're going to sustain your business. And although that this is great ideas and I love them, they taste wonderful and I'm sure people will love them, this is where you're going to make money right now, and we have to focus in on that. So she has been that great support that has allowed me to kind of keep afloat.
The incubation programme is further developing Hong Kong's entrepreneurial culture, and the eager take-up of its facilities attests to the many food and beverage ideas Hong Kongers have. But any young company in any field faces a long process before business takes off, and an incubation programme is just the beginning. Some startups may make a lot of bread, but not all of them will.
And now, Biz Bites. Tonight